Hey everyone, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. My name is Josh. Sorry I'm sick. Everybody in my house has COVID. My test keeps coming back negative, but I just think it's false negative. I think we all have it. So I've got a slight cold. Just getting over it now. We've just been playing video games and having some fun. It's been home time. I have like this sick nest upstairs in the loft where I've just been playing Days Gone, which is by far the best zombie apocalypse video game that exists on Earth. And yes, I'm saying it's better than The Last of Us. It's better than that. Come at me. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here. Today we're talking about Not Enough Nelsons, this crazy family vlog. A lot of people have been asking me to do a little bit more on them, and I will. Today we're talking about this video that I've had in my list for a little while. She's talking about her special needs daughter, her story. And this is what a lot of these adopted families do, is they exploit their adopted kids' stories for content and views and clicks without their informed consent. And we talked about that. That's one of the most important parts of the adoption journey. And I think adoption agencies need to step up their game when it comes to this type of content. But let's talk about it. So if you don't know who Not Enough Nelsons are, they are a YouTube channel with, let's see here, 1.1 million subscribers. They've got 280 million views. That's big numbers. They pull in tons of views too. For having a 1.1 million subscriber sub count, videos from like a week ago, 400,000, 430,000, they make a ton of cash. Like they make big bucks. I haven't gone through too many of their videos. We did the one where she took her daughter to the restaurant and they had the sex talk with her and it was super creepy. They are definitely Mormon, 100%. And there's just a bunch, they're just the standard Mormon vloggers, standard family vloggers, the same stuff. I'm sure if I typed in doctor here, it would bring up a ton of videos about going to the doctor. Oh no, Presley visits the doctor. Another trip to the doctor. It's broken. Rush in the ambulance. Another trip to the emergency room. Broken back. Lily's, again, that's just one word, right? Type in mouth, see what happens. My kids have to wear masks to bed. Broke my tooth. Get wisdom teeth removed. You can't make this shit up. I've never even typed this in their channel before. Let's type in story. Day I met you. Baby Navy's adoption story. Baby's adoption story. Adoption story. Guess who's adopted? Russian orphanage emotional story. This journey kid that we're going to go through. She tells her story a bunch of times. I'm adopted, adoption reveal. It's like this is what makes them money. And they know it, and that's why they continue to do it. Anyway, I want to show you what lengths that this family will go to make money on YouTube from their children. And thank God that there's stuff coming in. I honestly believe, though, Utah, if all the states adopt this new law where they have to pay the kids and all that kind of stuff, I bet you Utah will be the only holdout. You know why? Because Mormons have a ton of power in Utah, and a lot of these families live in Utah. I bet you Utah will be the last vestige of like holdouts for this type of content because they need it. They make billions. This makes billions. Anyway, sorry, sound like this, but it is what it is. Let's go. Chill.
Hey guys! Welcome back to
Not Enough Nelsons.
Not Enough Nelsons. So,
again, why do they always film? It's not even a Ring doorbell. It's one of those ones you get from like AliExpress. 4K 1080p doorbell express.
today's video is kind of all about journey, I guess, right?
So why are you here?
Yeah, I can.
So,
Does that girl look comfortable being in this video to you? Does she look comfortable? The answer is no.
where this idea for this video came from was,
We needed money.
as you know, we went to Disney World with Journey and with her boyfriend Cameron. And I heard Cameron.
What? You took this girl and her boyfriend to Disney? How old? She looks like she's 13. If my 13-year-old daughter came home and said, Dad, can we bring my boyfriend to Disney? I'd be like, excuse me? No. It's family time.
Journey talking to Kennedy's boyfriend, and they were kind of just talking about like how he has autism and how he struggles a little bit.
Did she film that too? I hope you didn't.
And Journey was talking about some of her special needs, and it dawned on me that
I can make money exploiting my daughter's special needs journey. Yes. Yeah.
many of our subscribers maybe don't actually know.
Well, then you should fix that. Your subscribers don't know about your daughter's personal history? Well, we shall remedy that, shall we? Shan't we?
Because Journey is just so darling and beautiful. You probably don't know a lot about what happened.
What kind of afterthought is that? Well, it's dawned on us that our fans don't know a personal history about our daughter. And so since she's such a beautiful person, so we're going to give you all the dirt. You are a failure of a mother. I cannot believe these people exist. I know I do a lot of these videos and I say that a lot, but every single step of the way you find someone else, you're like, I can't believe this exists. I can't believe it.
Happens inside of her mind and how her mind works and things like that. And so I thought I was a little bit leery to film this because...
But here we are. I wasn't going to film this, but here's me filming it. Aloha, idiot. No, she did say the thing. They all say it. When they do videos where they think they might get a little bit of pushback. Yeah, no, you've done it too. Bits, come on. You've done it. But basically they say, well, I wasn't going to do it. So they think people are like, well, you weren't going to. So maybe you had some pause. If you ever have... Sorry. No, I'll yeah, you got to go. You cleaning? Sorry. Decorating for Valentine's? Okay, bye. Look, if you've ever had to made pause to do something, then you should probably not do that thing. Family vloggers, take this advice. If there's ever a moment you say, will I get pushback for this? You will, so don't.
I would never want to make Journey feel like put on the spot or anything,
but here we are filming.
I was talking to her about some of her special needs. It was just very matter of fact. She was like telling me like basically her diagnosis and like.
So then what? Okay, what?
Like why and how
her thought pattern is weird. She's trying to tell us why she's doing this. She's like, well, she told me it was a matter of fact. So what are you putting on the internet?
Her mind works, and I was like, no, that is really impressive. And so this video is kind of going to those of you who actually know our family and who are subscribed and watch us and maybe just don't know this information about Journey.
I don't need to say any more. There it is, everybody. They are here to share every little last detail about their family, intimate details that we should not know. And they use it for content. You can't make this stuff up, everybody. You can't hear that anywhere else than right here. She's like, these are for the people who follow us. And here's some really deep information that you should never know. Again, I said this in the last video. Maybe I should make a t-shirt. If anybody on the internet knows your child's medical history, if anybody in the internet knows your child's first, last, and middle name, where you live, okay, if anybody in the internet knows your child's favorite food or place to be, or have seen them grow up or, emerge from your vag. Okay, that is, you've exploited your children. Sorry. If your kid is in passing or you're showing off them playing basketball or soccer or they're really good at knitting or something like that, cool. I'm always like, maybe there should be some more channels where they're just like, here's how amazing my kid is at hockey. Look at them play hockey. I'll watch. That's cool. Celebrate your kids' wins. Celebrate their talents. Don't give out personal information or anything like that. And also, if they do dance with leotards, don't put that on the internet either.
If you are new, then we have 16 kids. 9 are...
Holy shit.
...adopted.
9 are adopted.
And 2 of them are adopted from a Russian orphanage. And so...
I'm sure there's stories about that too.
Journey was adopted from...
Russia,
yeah. So, and how old were you when we adopted you?
I was 8.
She was 8. So she was going to be 9 pretty soon. We adopted.
Thanks. We know what comes after 8. We all went to school, unlike you, Mormon weirdo.
Adopted her in May. It was over kind of like Mother's Day. It was my best Mother's Day present ever. And we were adopting her around then, and her birthday is in September. So she was...
Are they outside? Where's the wind coming from?
Almost 9. So in talking to you about some of Journey's special needs, I think we should maybe tell them a little bit about why maybe some of the hard things that she's been through.
Why? Why do we need to know this? Why does anybody need to know her special needs and her hard times? To what end? Explain. A lot of people will say, well, it's good to know that. Why is it good to know this? Does this help people? Why?
Life, right? That have made it that
She
way.
says 3 words so far in this video.
So, do you want to tell them or do you want me to tell them?
You can tell them.
I can tell them.
So why is she even sitting there then? Freaking crazy Mormon lady. If you're going to tell the whole story, why is she sitting here? Just tell the story without her in the video. And you don't have to say her name. You can say, we have a child and here's their story. Even that is bad, but not as bad as what you're doing.
I guess I'm going to tell you. So So I learned about these things actually after I had went back to visit her the second time, and I was reading through all of her information that they give you right when you're ready to adopt.
I need to point out that information that you get from adoption, and I know this because I've adopted too, that stuff that you get is not supposed to be actually given to that child until they turn 18. Because those files contain tons and tons of information about their trauma, about their abuse, and everything else, because everything that's been documented is in that file, and it is their file. It is not for the world to see. We have our children's files. One of our kids doesn't even want his. The other one's not old enough to have it. Their files are huge, okay? And those files contain really sensitive information about things that could possibly trigger. It's good for therapy and counseling and stuff like that, right? So we understand where they're coming from, where therapists or a counselor can know what they're going through, because we can give them documented proof and evidence of what they've gone through. What she's about to do here is divulge this information that's not even supposed to be given to this little girl until she's 18. But she's giving it to the internet. So whatever adoption agency is allowing these people to continue to do this, shame on you. You should not, first of all, you should not be able to adopt anywhere over, I want to say 4 kids. 4 is like, okay, you're done. Because there's no possible way you could parent over 4 children that come from trauma. They have 9. Right? Or 6. They have 9. Same with crazy pieces, crazy middles. There's just no way. What they end up doing is their eldest children parent the youngest children. There's just no way. I have 4 kids, and it's sometimes really hard to be present and there for them. Okay? Imagine having 16. There's just no possible way. So why are adoption agencies allowing this to happen? And they'll say, well, it's better than being the system. I get that. But 20 kids, 19, 16... Sorry, there's got to be a limit somewhere. Adoption agencies have a responsibility to children as well. So I'm sorry.
So Journey came from a home that the mom just would leave them for weeks and even months at a time. She had a brother who was just like 3 years older than her, a sister that was like 2 years older.
Watching these kids have their story told, and again, this sounds like my story, and so I apologize if I get a little bit emotional in this, but watching them have their story told by someone to a camera to other people, it is really, really weird and awkward for kids. Like, my mom would tell stories about us in front of other people, and it's super awkward. Okay. I don't go out and tell my entire history of the world. I'm not an oversharer. I will be sharing you guys my story at 100,000 subs, which seems to be coming up pretty fast, to be honest with you. But I'm not an oversharer. I think that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it partly because I want to have that as my, I want to show that to my kids someday. This is what your dad went through, and this is what I overcame to be where I am right now and how good we have it. But it's super awkward for these kids sitting there who can't give informed consent to tell their stories to the internet. They don't understand who's watching. That's why.
And she was just a baby, like 12 to 18 months, like right in there. Yeah. The document said like how they found them, and it's really, really sad. Yeah. Isn't it?
They don't need to know this at a young age. They don't need to know this. A lot of times they've suppressed it. They will never remember, or in her case, she was less than a year old or around a year old and would never remember it anyway. There's no reason to tell her this. There isn't. And I know maybe I'll get some flack, some pushback for that. Kids need to know why. Why do the kids need to know what happened to them when they were taken? Why? To what end? What good does that do a child who has no memory of the thing to have it foisted upon her? There is no reason for this. What she's doing could cause trauma. Then you could that will be put in your head now, and you're going to start thinking about that all the time. It could affect how you make decisions, who you trust, everything. What she's doing is super irresponsible.
Some of the hard things was they said they couldn't even walk across the floor, that there was like human feces on the floor. That means like the kids.
This is so embarrassing. Like, not your place to tell this. You disgusting person.
We're just going to the bathroom all over the floor. They were naked. None of them were dressed, and it's very cold in Russia a lot of the time. They had one kind of mattress on the ground, just a bare mattress that they were all sleeping and huddled together on. And she had scabies, and she had lice, and
oh, you sad for her? You gotta be kidding me. She's crying. This little one's not crying. It's been done to her. This mom just shared some of the most traumatic things a kid could go through that she doesn't have a memory of, by the way, and is just throwing it out there as YouTube content. It is just nasty. I can't explain this woman with her fake eyelashes, sitting on a bed with her daughter, telling her daughter's story that is nobody's to tell. Giving her this, look where you came from and look how, this, guys, if you want to know what a white savior complex is, this is it right here. I know I said before white privilege doesn't exist. I misspoke, everybody. I did that on the Beauty and the Dad Bod podcast, but I do believe white privilege absolutely exists. I want to make sure you guys realize I said that I correct that. I just feel like we also get class privilege and white privilege mixed up a lot, and I will say that to the end. But this white privilege, white savior, this is crazy. This woman honestly believes she's a white savior because she's obviously Mormon too. So she feels like she saved this girl, and she's like, look what I saved you from. The psychology behind that narcissism is absolutely bonkers, and we can't forget it. This is gross, and she makes money from this. The point is she makes money doing this. Oh, why don't you give all the money you've ever made on this channel about any adopted kid you've had from Russia, send every penny of that to that Russian orphanage. That's what I want you to do.
It's kind of sad to talk about.
So don't talk about it. She's not crying. She doesn't remember. You are literally projecting your trauma, your heartbreak and everything onto her. She has no memory of it.
It's really hard to think my cute baby was in all that, but anyway.
Okay, you're crying, but there's no tears. I hate YouTube fake criers. It bothers the shit out of me.
That's what made her so strong and amazing. But she had a real...
No, that did not make her strong and amazing. What are you saying? Stop just spouting bullshit. Coming from trauma does not make one strong and amazing. It makes one suffer. And you didn't have to tell her any of that bullshit. I'm just telling you guys that what she's doing here is inappropriate. And she's bawling her eyes out. She's like, I can't do it. I can't understand why she would do this. Well, I do. It's for money, but any parent worth their salt would never do something like this.
Really, really rough until she was basically Ledger's age. So I tried to imagine like Ledger trying to fend for himself, not ever being changed and just being naked, walking around with little 2- and 3-year-old and not knowing where the next meal was going to come from. And so... Anyway, so she...
And so I saved her with my white savior. Thanks, Joseph Smith. Oh. Again, if there's an adoption agency out there, just look at their YouTube channel before you let them adopt, because they're exploiting this. And does the adoption agency say, yeah, this sounds good. This is interesting. Again, a lot of people will say, well, it's bringing awareness to adopt. What? Again, stop bringing awareness to shit we already know exists. This is none of our business. None of ours. And the whole internet knows.
Wasn't taught a lot of those things, and she wasn't really bonded to her mom, I guess you could say, because those first years are the most important, right, to bond to your caregiver, and she didn't really have her mom, so my guess is she probably had bonded to her brother and sister.
Well, good thing it took her away from her brother and sister then. And she's this girl, for all, sad that her life is and that sucks, just sitting here agreeing with the stuff. She doesn't know, guys. You don't even form memories until you're around 3 years old. She has no memory of this. But trauma plays a big role, though. You have trauma memory. You have generational trauma. You have this trauma memory that you sometimes you don't realize, why am I suffering with anxiety and all this shit later in life? And you have to get to the bottom of it. That's what these files are for. Okay, the files are there for, hey, when you're 18, here's the information on your life, because we think that you're old enough now to sort of understand. I wouldn't even say 18, I'd say 25. But that's the legal age of majority in Ontario. We have to give our kids that file at 18. We cannot hold it from them. So, but even at 18, I don't think it's smart. What she's doing is nasty.
Which is really sad because,
why is it sad? Stop saying it's really sad. We get it. But she's doing well now. With the sad piano music and shit behind it, please, somebody tell these people they're dumb.
As you know, if you watched her adoption video, like there was 2 men that lived down the street and they had tuberculosis, and so they couldn't actually come in and take care of the kids, but they would every once in a while put like a meal on their doorstep and knock, and the kids would open the door and take the food in and eat it. And so those, I guess, are the men that turned in the mom for the situation. So Journey ended up being taken out of that situation, which was great, but so sad is she was separated from her sister and her brother. That's like little Ledger.
She's trying to evoke emotion out of Journey. She's trying to like push this out. She's trying to say, you know, come on, let's get it. She is, I can't tell you how gross, but she's imprinting trauma right now into her daughter. Like, have they had this conversation privately? I don't think so. This sounds like they're having this conversation sort of for the first time on here, on camera, and she's projecting this trauma onto her daughter, and her daughter is super uncomfortable, by the way, you could tell. And I hope this daughter realizes later what this mother did is absolutely disgusting. Don't ever do this to your children, everybody.
Being always with Mr. Beckham, and that's all he knew and that's all he wanted to, and then just not only are you taken out of your house, but you're taken away from everyone that you know and love. And so that can be really, really hard on anybody.
Thanks, psychologist Susie. We appreciate it.
Much less than, a baby. Anyway, so moving ahead, when we adopted Journey, as you know from some of the pictures, and maybe I can put some pictures right here, she had an eye that would kind of
Would go into.
Yeah.
Who cares? Why do people need to know this?
Kind of go inside and show them like how much could you see, like when that eye was in.
Like half of the picture.
Yeah, like half the picture. Anyways, when we adopted her, we went to the orphanage. They told us about some of her special needs, and they hadn't really told us about that before, but my heart just felt so comforted, and
my white savior came in and rescued them. Maybe one day we'll talk about missions trips and like the Western Church going over to these third world countries with a team of people spending 30, 40, 50 grand to go over to build things for people, when instead that 50 grand could have probably built that thing. The white savior complex needs to be addressed. We need to stop this bullshit. It is terrible.
I just knew that it was.
Just do these things in private then. You know, if you want to be a white savior, cool. At least you're helping somebody. I get that. You don't have to tell anybody about any of it. Difference is when they do this and then they exploit their stories for money. I can't stress it enough.
Going to be okay, but I hadn't really totally prepared myself for some of the special needs that Journey would have, and so that is one bit of advice I would give for any adopted parent who is adopting a special needs child, would be to really prepare, because I felt kind of like scrambled. I was like, oh, I don't know about some of these big words you're telling me, like they told me all these encephalopathy or something, and it was hard to translate.
You still can't say it. So she has this thing, you still don't know what it is. Sounds like you really took it seriously though.
From Russian to what that means in English, and I didn't understand some of these things. So she had a 60-word vocabulary when she was 8, and so usually by then you have a lot more words. But I just felt so comfortable.
So I just realized something. So she came when she was about 8 years old. So she's got memories of living in the system and all that kind of stuff. I get that. But that traumatic stuff that you heard from the beginning, she was nowhere near her life in that part of her life until she was 8. Why did she tell her all that stuff? It's not like she adopted her as a baby. They adopted her when she was 8. I can't get over this.
Comforted. I knew she was our little girl, and I just knew it was going to be okay. So if you watch the other video, Journey had a really hard time making decisions.
So if you watch the other one we exploited her on, how many Journey videos are there? Come on.
Like the pajamas I put in front of her, she cried for 40 minutes. I didn't even know, and I came back and she didn't know which pajamas to choose, and she didn't know when to go to the bathroom. Just all of the things that you just kind of know when you're 8 or 9 years old. It was more like an 18-month-old, honestly, of what I.
God. This is so nasty.
To teach her, she would go up to pure strangers and hug them, or if she got hurt, she would just go to any person that was available. She didn't know to come to me, and so we worked through some of those things.
That's not coincidence. That's a gut speaking. This woman doesn't give a shit, so I'll go somewhere else. Kids know inherently. Sorry.
And the best advice I can give, and I'm going to let Journey tell you about some of the things that now she, after growing up to be 22.
This girl's 22? So that's why her face isn't blanked out.
What she knows now about herself, which is really cool. What was new to me and what...
Girl's 22? Oh my God, she looks like she's 16. I'm not kidding.
Was what I would give advice for is I didn't realize that I would need to become Journey's advocate in a very real way, because you always are going to advocate for your kid.
What? What are you saying? You didn't know you're going to be advocate for your children after adopting her? What words are you using? Do you understand the words coming out of your own mouth, lady?
It's right when you are a parent, but you especially have to advocate for a child who has special needs.
Wow. This one's got smarts with a Z.
Because a lot of times, like, Journey doesn't have the things, the indicators that a lot of kids with special needs would have. Or sometimes you can tell when they have Down syndrome or other special needs, but Journey's is hidden. And so when she presents, everyone says she's fine. Like, there's no deficit there. Like, we don't need to give her any special help with school, and we don't need to give her any special help socially, and all of these things. In fact, I have had many meaning well educators say to me, oh, no, she's just very mature for her age. That's why she just talks to only teachers and only the policemen, and that's why she doesn't talk to people her age. She's too mature for them. And I'm like,
You're so dumb.
it's like, she needs help. And so anyway, that is one bit of advice that I would give if you are considering, or if you have adopted a special needs child, is become their biggest cheerleader, but also their biggest advocate.
Got it. So be a parent. If you're going to adopt somebody, be a parent. Got it, lady. Is she kidding me right now? What kind of... Again, this is what they use to disguise their bullshit with. Well, I'm going to exploit the story, but I need to tell you this thing first. Like, remember that girl said that her kids almost got kidnapped, and I believed her, and she's going to go to jail now? You know, she exploited the story, and at the end she said, mamas, watch your babies. Like, we didn't know that. So they disguise this whole exploitation gig by saying something like this to say, well, here's how I'm going to tell you, and here's how I'll close it out with the advice. You know, advocate for your children. Okay, we got it there. You're so bad at this.
And don't be afraid to say it like it is. You know,
Okay.
Sometimes I would be blunt, right? And thank goodness Journey never got her feelings hurt, but I was like, no, she's not just too mature for them. She doesn't understand what they're saying. They talk too fast.
I don't like that she's talking to the camera about her it's like she's talking about her and she's not in the room. It's really weird.
They think that she's mad all the time or she's mean. Okay, here's an example. Like, a lot of
No,
times,
we don't need an example, but here we go.
a majority of the people, when they talk, their voice goes up and down and up and down, you know, and you can tell that they're happy or you tell that they're sad. Well, Journey, one thing that she has is her voice is just monotone, and that's when she's happy, her voice is
Are you in a marsh somewhere? Where are you?
the same height as when she's mad or when
Is there 1,000 frogs in the same room with you right now?
she's sad. And so a lot of times what? People think you're what?
I think I'm mad or I'm angry.
Yeah, I think she's mad.
This is... This girl has said 4 words halfway through this video.
Angry, unless she's smiling. But people don't feel like smiling all the time. Do you feel like smiling all the time? No. So she didn't want to go through our day like smiling every single
Like you do? Like you?
second. But everyone would always be like, well, she's mean. Or she says, you know, she's rude. Or she doesn't like me. And I was like, no. She just, her voice you just have it straight.
What is the point? Oh my God.
Voice. I think it's a beautiful voice. And it's just very one level. And that's okay. But anyway, that's just some of the miscommunications that you have. You know, it's frustrating. But so in that case,
This isn't she's talking for an adult too. I thought she was talking for a kid. And she's talking for an adult. So...
I ended up talking to that educator, and I was like, okay, I understand that you see Journey maybe in your class an hour a day, but I love Journey and she is part of my everyday life, and it is not that she is too mature, it is that she is frustrated and sad.
Nobody cares.
Like 7 people telling me, no, you cannot hold her back because blah, blah, some of the big words that I was told, and like you explained some of those big words. Okay, so what's the first thing that you have?
It's called reactive attachment disorder, which is the only attachment I had was with my brothers and sisters that got ripped away. So it's kind of hard for me to know what the healthy attachment is.
And she's right. And this is interesting. And I wish she didn't have to tell her story to get to this. This attachment disorders for adopted kids is really, 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 really a big deal. It's probably one of the main concerns for most agencies and for kids with attachment disorders. I can't make correct relationships because they don't know what it looks like. So they end up making terrible relationships and terrible calls. They end up finding the people that are more like them, who have issues themselves, who then will provide your kids with drugs and like do the shitty things because they feel like that's who they belong with. It's really weird. So it sort of happened to me. But it also just makes me think that she's got 9 of these kids that likely have, the majority of them likely have issues like this, and they need special attention. And there's just no possible way 2 parents could give 16 kids that kind of attention. Impossible. I'm sorry. So when you bring in special needs kids, don't do too many, is what I'm saying. Because there's just no way you can stretch yourself that thin, because there's no way you can take care of yourself. And then when you don't take care of yourself, that shit spirals out of control and you become a person that is bad. Like this one.
Who I can be attached to that's good or, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was a really good way of explaining it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, how she used to just go and hug everybody. Like, this was years after I adopted her, not just start calling people, hey, you're like my second mom. Hey, mom. And it was kind of like, I was like, no, Journey, I'm your mom.
As of last year, Journey's telling other people that they're their mom. I mean, okay. What that tells me is that you're not really a mom to her. She was likely raised by one of the older teens. It tells me that you aren't really a mom figure, is what I'm telling you guys. That you have a camera on, you're vlogging your life. She thinks other people are her mom. I think you should look into that, explore that a little bit. And if you have to tell her you're her mom, you failed.
We can't tell other people that you're mom. You're my baby. You're not their baby. Anyway.
Ew.
I would explain to her, and sometimes the people would explain her, sometimes they would just think, I must be really special. Journey loves me most of anyone in the whole entire world. And I'm like, yeah, but she's
I'm like, no, she hates you.
calling like 8 different women moms, so that's not the case.
I hope she realizes what she's saying here. She's 22. As of 21, she was still calling other people mom. Sorry. That speaks more volumes to me than anything you said in this entire video, is that Journey doesn't see you as a mom. Maybe a provider to some degree, but you're not a mom. And no mom worth their salt would ever do any of the shit that you do on a camera with your kids. You are a bad mom. I wouldn't even call you a mom. You're just a caregiver. Same with Crazy Pieces, Crazy Middles. There's no way that they can love those kids all the same. Impossible. Kids come with so many kids that come from adoption come because of abandonment and attachment. So there's just no possible way you can give them what they need when you have to feed 20 mouths, 16 mouths, 19 mouths, whatever it is. Okay? I'm telling you, it's impossible.
But anyway, she's figured that out, right? Yeah. You figured that out. So we're working on some of those things still, but I think that you've come really far. But
like, chill with grabbing her. She's so possessive. Like, I wish a body language expert would sit here and just tear this shit to shreds. Because this one, she's got problems.
It can be a really hard thing as the parent, because it's really hard not to take it personal. And it's still even hard. Like, even when I heard that she was calling other people mom, I was like,
oh, I'm a shitty mom. That's what you should reflect on that and say, what have I done wrong as a mom? Let me tell you what you've done wrong as a mom. You've exploited your children online for views and money. That's what you've done wrong. You've adopted too many kids that you can't even parent them properly. That's what you've done wrong. You've exploited their situations and their stories.
Bad, but I'm like, okay, it's not like I'm a bad mom, and Journey's not bad per se. She's just learning the correct way things work. So,
oh, is that it? Again, look inward there, Blondie.
Anyway, that one's getting better. So what's the other thing?
Getting better. She's 22.
And so this is like when we first adopted Journey, she knew that something was hot, and she would just be like, oh, it's red. Ow. Like, and it was really weird because even after she hurt herself, it wouldn't be like the normal, like, oh, ouch. It was like, oh, ow. Like, it was like a delayed response.
So gross.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so those are the
anyways, like
kind of things. And then compulsive, like sometimes just doing things without thinking about it.
Doing things without thinking about it, like putting your kids' privacy online for the whole world to see forever, like that. Impulsive decisions like that. Like that?
Yeah, you just automatically just do it sometimes. Mm-hmm. That's a hard one. And so
they didn't go into that one very well. That's the issue with a lot of adopted kids. That's when they make bad choices and they can't help make bad choices. Right? But she didn't want to talk about that one.
I think that a lot of this also stems from trauma, from early childhood trauma that she went through with everything that you just heard about that she went through.
Not necessarily. I suffered massive childhood trauma. My adopted boys did too, and they're very brilliant, very smart. They don't have any of these types of things. So don't say shit that you have no idea what you're talking about. That is dumb. Don't speak on shit that doesn't connect. Okay? Because it's not always the case.
That can
It's rarely the case.
triggers for things, and I'd be like, why is she freaking out right now? Like, there's no reason in my mind that she would be freaking out or throwing a fit or it was.
That's because you didn't know your children, lady. You don't know your children's triggers as teenagers? You have a file. Did you read it? If you're going to adopt kids that likely going to have trauma, and they all will, and you don't know what their triggers possibly could be after adopting 9 of them, you are not doing this right. You're not doing your due diligence. You're not studying. You're not researching. You're not looking it up. You're not advocating for them like you say you are. How do you not know these things?
Why is Journey sad and you don't care or something like that? But now you know, like, she doesn't have to smile all the time, you know, but inside she's doing great.
It sounds like she was getting comments, why does Journey seem sad all the time? So she had to make this video to say, it's not us, I swear, it's her, it's all her fault.
Yeah, right? I mean, sometimes she is sad like all of us, but she's just normal like all of us.
Did she just say that? Did she just say she's normal like all of us after a 30-minute video talking about how not normal she is and all of her issues? Did she just say that? Wow. You are dumb.
Right?
Yeah.
And is there anything else you want to share? Oh, I'll share one more thing.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Journey has a boyfriend! When you met in Meet the Boyfriend,
Yeah.
he's a pretty special kid, too.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool kid.
He has what's called autism, so.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, anyway, she's
Is that your business, our business? She just told everybody your boyfriend has autism? Whose business is of yours to tell everybody's issues? Why did you say that to the internet? Nobody else's business. You just don't know. You are so obtuse.
excited that she has a boyfriend and living the fun college life.
I'm not listening to that anymore. That was terrible. And there's a whole shit ton of them on their video too. Whole bunch. We're going to go through their channel a little bit more this year. We're going to do a deep dive. They need to be covered in huge depth. I don't know a ton about them, but I can already tell you by this video, there's probably some major, major problematic issues on this channel with these parents. Something crazy's going on. Stop letting people adopt this many kids. Stop letting Mormons adopt kids. Let's do that. I know Mormons gonna be like, oh, how dare you? Or anybody. Just saying. Mormons. What's the common denominator on all these channels with all these adopted kids who exploit them? They're Mormon. That's the common denominator. Just saying. Gotta be something there, right? Anyway, take a deep breath. The old lungs. Guys, I hope you have an amazing day. Sorry I sound like this, but know that you're valuable. You're incredible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on this channel. Follow me on Instagram if you get a chance, and I will see you tomorrow.